Hey guys, I'm here tonight on the Diablo 3 PTR for patch 2.5.0, specifically to look at the new version of Primal Ancients that Blizzard are introducing to the game. The original Primal Ancients were up to a 30% stat boost in certain stats above what an Ancient can achieve, and had about a 1% chance of dropping, whereas an Ancient has about a 10% chance of dropping in terms of a legendary. So if you were getting a legendary, you had about 10% chance that would be an ancient, and previously a 1% chance on the PTR of being a primal ancient. So Blizzard have changed their philosophy slightly on this, and now the primal ancients won't roll those stats higher than an ancient, but they will roll as if they were a perfect ancient. So what that means is that instead of your bow, for example, being able to do a dex roll of 825 to 1000, if my bow was a primal ancient, it would have 1000 dexterity on it. So they'll be able to roll basically perfect ancient stats. However, they've also decreased the drop rate. So instead of 1%, it's going to be lower than 1%. And I don't think that's a particularly good change, because I think if you overdo the rarity, it only helps those who use other means to get their items rather than legitimate players. But for now, that's what they've decided. I would prefer to at least keep it at the 1%, if not have it a little less rather than that. So that's my first actual ancient in this rolling. I'm going to be keeping a bit of a track of how long it takes me to get a Primal Ancient, hoping that I can, because I'm not really sure exactly how rare they are. Now, the other thing is that they've actually put a gating on it, so that I guess new players may not be able to get them. There is now a requirement that to even be able to have a chance of rolling a Primal Ancient at its less than 1% chance, that you have to have completed a Greater Rift level 70 solo. So that's going to be probably not so bad for a lot of people in non-season if they've been playing for a while and building up their sets. But at the start of each season, you know, that's going to be a bit of a extra grind. Personally, I don't like playing solo. I leave my solo pushes to later in the season, but basically it's going to effectively force me to play solo earlier in the season, so I get to have a chance at getting some of these better items, even if it's a very, very tiny chance. So when I've jumped on the PTR tonight, I've just quickly first up done a Greater F70 to give myself the chance of that on the PTR. So I've just rolled 20 times. I've got one Ancient and no Primal Ancient. So I'll just break all that down. And get myself another 20 bows. And really hope I get lucky. I think I'm a little bit disappointed at how they've. I mean, I thought they need to change the approach, and I quite like that they're not going to be as additionally powerful. You know, they're only going to be as strong as a perfect ancient, and that's because there's less of a gap. My real concern with the 30% increase on everything and your 1% chance is, you know, it would take you about 5,000 Forgotten Souls and 500 of each bounty mat on average to be able to craft one of these things if you were re-rolling a legendary. And my concern was therefore that all the people using the other tools would therefore be able to get them and leave the rest of us behind. So now if you are lucky enough to get a Primal Ancient, the good thing is in my opinion, that it's not as much of a power boost. You know, if I've got a pretty good ancient, I'm going to say, in my opinion, my bow here is pretty good. It's non-season, but it's pretty good. You know, if I get my Primal Ancient Yangs, it's not going to be like a massive difference. So I'm not going to have a massive disadvantage to someone who has all of that, or just gets lucky. So I do like that aspect, but I don't like the decrease in rarity because, again, I see it as something like the rarer it is, you know, the more frustrating it can be when you don't get it. Like, I'm going to have to go into next season or go into the patch going, well, I just have to assume that I'm never going to get one and then get happy if I do. There's no way I can hope to craft something that is less than 1% rarity because, you know, even at 1% on average, that's 5,000 Forgotten Souls and 500 of each bounty mat. I can't pull that off in season, and even if I did, you know, you could spend all that and not get one because it is down to chance. So I'm a bit, I guess, disappointed that they've decreased the rarity. I think in my original video where I was upgrading the rares, there was a suggestion from one of my viewers that, you know, they maybe consider a craftable upgrade, like something like a Ramaudi's Gift or something, so that you could upgrade your Ancient to a Primal Ancient, whether it's, you know, something similar to a Ramaudi's or some other kind of cube recipe to upgrade. I personally would have liked that a lot more to give, I guess, more standard players a chance, in my opinion. But that didn't happen. So I've just rolled 40 now. I'm going to get my next 20. So to me, it would be preferable if Blizzard still made some changes to this system, and even if they go, no, this is how it's going to be this really rare drop. I think in order to help, I guess, more what I'm going to just call standard players, not, in my opinion, casual players. I think that's like another level again, but definitely standard players. I personally think the greater of 70 gating is a little high when you're thinking about seasons. I would prefer it to be a greater of 60, which is equivalent to T13, rather than a higher requirement than Torment 13 to be able to get a highest tier item. Because, I mean, tier 13, it's not tier 13, Torment 13 is, you know, the highest base level in the game, so I don't see why, if you're doing that level content, you shouldn't be able to find one of these items. So we'll see if there's any more changes before this goes live. However, as I say, I'm quite happy that at least it's not going to be as much, because I don't, I guess, feel like I absolutely have to have the Primal Ancients anymore. You know, when it was a 30% stat boost, it's like it's almost required, but with just a smaller boost and just having perfect rolls, it's not so much a requirement as I guess a nice to have. So hopefully it won't be as frustrating in that manner, although, as I say, because they are going to be so hard to find and we don't know the chance yet, it could be frustrating. So I don't think I got even any Ancients in that lot of 20. So break them down and try again. Okay, next one, 20. So in making the max level roll ancients, and it's always going to roll max level, and also if you re-roll a stat at the mystic, that's a max level roll. So if I was going to re-roll my secondary to maximum discipline, I'm not going to get 9 to 12 discipline, I'm always going to get 12. That's kind of nice. However, my understanding, and say it's a bit hard to see, I haven't seen one of the new ones yet, is that the actual stats it rolls are still somewhat random. So while they will roll dex, if I find it on a dexterity character, there's nothing that's going to guarantee that I get, you know, the rolls I want in terms of a plus damage roll, etc. on my bow, or for example a cooldown roll on my quiver. So technically, even with the right weapon type or the right item type, rolling a Primal Ancient it still could be not what I want, is my understanding, but I guess we'll see. The other change that Blizzard made, here's an Ancient here, is that if you break down an Ancient, you're going to get 3 Forgotten Souls instead of 1. And if you break down a Primal Ancient, you're now going to be able to get 15 Forgotten Souls. So that's a pretty nice touch. But, I mean, it's not really going to change the game. It's just going to make them a bit more worthwhile. So I've got 2 Ancients so far in this lot of 20. No Primals though. But we'll try and see that when I break these down this time, if I do them slow enough. Okay, so that's 80 rolls all up so far and no Primal Ancient. So if let's see my current mats. So my current mats, I've got 7,906 Forgotten Souls, and if I go break down this Ancient, 7,909, so I definitely got 3 Forgotten Souls for that, and the other one should be similar. Where was it there? 7,912. So there you go, you can see that breaking down of the Ancients does give you the 3 Forgotten Souls. Okay, let's get 20 more bows. Okay, so this is now running from 80 to 100 rolls. So getting close to what our 1% chance, you know, would have been. On average, of course. May take someone 2 rolls, may take someone 100 rolls, may take someone 198 rolls. Welcome to RNG. Another Ancient.
Small minds, small goals. I won't judge.
Basically, I think if I'm going into this new change, yeah, you've got to be, I guess, happy with the Ancients you get, or you are going to get a bit frustrated with, yeah, say we're not quite sure yet what the chance is, but apparently it's quite small. So really, I think the aim needs to be good Ancients, and then if you're lucky enough to get a Primal Ancient, hopefully it rolls the stats that you want. Interestingly though, I guess these, there's another, just an Ancient, what that'll mean is because it is such a small upgrade, even with the right rolls, if you already have a good Ancient level, you basically, if you've put your gems into it, if you've despaired them, like I have on my stuff, it may actually not be an upgrade initially until you can despair your Primal Ancient. Okay, so on this 20 I just got 1, 2, and I thought it was 3. Yep, 3 Ancients. But no Primal. So I've through 100 rolls so far, have not seen a Primal. My original video, when we know now that it was meant to be a 1% chance, it took me 135 rolls, so I'm not up to that point yet. And I'm not sure how long this video is going to end up if the chance is really tiny. Take another 20, going 100 to 120. Hope we get lucky this time. I must say, I would still like it if they made it that there was some way to craft an upgrade to from your ancient to a primal ancient. But judging by the changes they've made thus far, that's obviously not the philosophy of the actual developers. So I don't think it's likely to happen at this point. If they make any changes, I'm more hopeful that it'll be on along the lines of reducing that gating requirement from a greater rift level 70 to something a little lower. Like, as I say, maybe a 60 or something, just so it's equivalent to Torment 13. So that's, I guess, my hope going forward, that they still make some further, I guess, minor changes in that regard. But I don't think, based on what they've changed so far, I've got much hope of getting any kind of crafting recipe for these. Okay, so 2 ancients in that lot, no primal ancients. After 120 rolls, I still don't have a primal ancient. Okay, another 20 bow. Come on, Sultan Cool, be my friend.
You're imaginative, aren't you?
Sultan Cool's laughing at me. Ancient Crider Shot, not a bad one. Quite a nice Ancient Crider Shot. Too bad it's no longer the good bow that it once was.
I see.
I used to wish for that bow and never be able to find it.
But when has that stopped you?
A long time ago now, though.
I suppose that will work. I suppose that will work.
Back when Elemental Arrow was king.
That will work. I see. You have access to a wondrous artifact of old, and that's what you want to do. Very well.
Yes, Sultan Cool, this is what I want to do with it. I'd really like you to give me a Primal Ancient. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm getting a few Ancients this lot of 20.
Small minds, small goals. I won't judge.
Okay, so that's 140 rolls so far. In this lot of 20, I got 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4 in that lot of 20 of just ancients. Still no Primal Ancient. Okay, another 20 weapons. So we're past the point where prior to the changes, I got my first Primal Ancient, which was my 135th roll at the 1% chance. That's not the recipe I wanted. So, yeah, it's just how rare is it? And really, I mean, once I get one, I'm only going to be able to guess. Hopefully there'll be a bunch of people getting some data and can kind of put that together. Not sure if maybe Blizzard will say, they've just said much more rare.
Not your worst idea. Not quite. You have access to a wondrous artifact of old, and that's what you want to do with it. Very well. If that's what you want.
Sultan Cook gets very repetitive when you're doing this. Okay, so that's another 20 down, so that's 160 rolls all up. No Primal Ancients as yet. Let's have a look at how many Ancients I got in this 20. 1, 2, just 2, which is about what I should be getting each 20 based on your 10% chance. Another 20 bows, taking it to 180 rolls. 160 to 180 right now. Oh, I don't want 201 bows. What's it going to do? It's going to give me 30? And, oh, don't tell me it dropped a bunch of bows on the ground. Oh well, I'm going to roll these next 30, so I'm actually going from 160 to 190. Misclick.
If that's what you want. Yes, I see. Very well. If that's what you want. You have access to a wondrous artifact of old, and that's what you want to do with it. Very well. Very well.
Hope that didn't run me out of mats crafting 200 bows.
Not your worst idea. Not quite. You're imaginative, aren't you? I suppose
But you can see here, like, if this was seasoned, you just wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now. So your chances of getting a Primal Ancient are going to be quite low if you don't have all these mats. I mean, they're obviously quite low with all these mats.
When has that stopped you?
Almost up to 190 rolls.
Small minds, small goals. I won't judge. You're imaginative.
Okay, so in this 30, I've got 1, 2, 2 more ancients. I'll break those down and see if I can pick up a good 30 more bows off the ground there. Or if there's just one, I'm not sure. Alright, only one. Okay, so only let me craft 31 for some reason. Okay, we'll just craft another 19 to bring it... No, we'll do another 29 to bring it back to a nice even number. Okay, so we're going from 190 to 220 here. Ancient first up. I was really hoping for a primal though. Another ancient. Just old and cool. I will take any Primal Ancient. Well, I'd love a Yangs. I'll take anything. Almost got excited. It's just an ancient karate shot again. Getting a few ancients. This 30. Okay, so we've done 220 rolls and no Primal Ancient. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 standard ancients. This 30. Back to 20s and go from 220 to 240. Hopefully we got a lucky one here.
Hey lady, I got some new things. You should take a look.
Wrong map. This new fill button is quite nice. It's so much better than clicking all your mats to put them in the cube. So that's a nice quality of life change coming up in patch 2.5.0. So much easier to craft. Along with the mats not actually taking up inventory room, they're all just listed in this button here, which helps again with space management, which after 4.5 years playing this game is a bit helpful to have.
Very well. I suppose that will work. I suppose that will work.
I'm not even barely looking at them now.
Do, but when has that stopped you? Yes, I see. What's your worst idea? Not quite. Small
Okay, another 20 down. We got
I
one,
won't judge.
two ancients in there, no primal ancients, so 240 rolls, and we have no primal ancients. Okay, another 20 bows. I'm not sure when I should just stop this. This video is getting very long. Not sure what YouTube's maximum time is allowed. Okay, that's 260 rolls down. One. Just one ancient in this, in that 20. Surely my luck's got to be coming around soon. Okay, another 20 bows. This is taking us from 260 to 280 rolls.
If that's what you want, you have access to a wondrous artifact of old, and that's what you want to do with it. Very well. Not your worst idea. Not quite. Yes, I see. If that's what you want.
Come on, Sultan, cool. Be nice.
Small minds, small goals. I won't judge. Small minds, small goals. I won't judge.
Got an ancient, I guess. So I think this really shows why it's going to be important not to get overwhelmed with not having the primals, because they are really, really rare. Like, I've just done now 280 rolls. That's 280 rolls, people, and I've got 20 something ancients, but no primal ancients. Okay, taking it to 300 rolls. I hit 200 again. Hopefully it gives me 20 again. 30, 31. Oops, okay, so I'm taking it to 310 rolls. Look, I don't think I can really do this much longer tonight, so I have to stop about, say, 350 rolls, and hope I get something prior to then. Another ancient. Another ancient. 2 ancients in a row. Thanks for keeping me going. Cool. I had 3 ancients in a row. Oh, am I on a lucky streak here? I'd really like a primal. No. Another ancient. So I've got a few ancients this go. Another ancient. Cool, what did I mention about a primal? No go. Okay, so that's up to 310 rolls with no primals. I did, however, get one, two, three, 4, 5 ancients that time. Okay. we'll pick up another 19 bows since I already have one. Taking 310 to 330. I was really hoping to be able to show what these perfect ancients look like, and doesn't look like it's going to happen. Ancient. Okay, that's 330 rolls, still no Primal Ancient. Got 2 Ancients in that 20. Okay, so this is going to be the last 20 I roll tonight. That's because I don't want this video to go on for a year. It's going to take me to 350 total rolls. It's looking very unlikely that I'm getting a Primal Ancient tonight. So just in summary of what they are, is Blizzard have made some changes to what they were going to have Primal Ancients to be. Instead of rolling up to 30% higher on some stats than a normal Ancient, they're going to basically be perfect Ancients in that in any stat roll, they will get the highest possible Ancient roll. So for example, in my bow where I can roll 825 to 1000 dex, a Primal Ancient would have that 1000 dexterity on it. I couldn't roll 870 something like my current bow has. So my understanding is that I was hoping to see one so I could just have a bit of a look, is that the actual stats it rolls though will still be somewhat random, so you may get overall stats that you don't like. For example, you know, I could roll with life per hit on my bow, is my understanding. It would be a perfect life per hit roll, but I don't really use life per hit in my character. So there will still be re-rolling required at the Mystic. Any roll at the Mystic will also give you a perfect level stat, but you still basically need to get your Primal Ancient to have reasonably the right stats, you know, with only one stat to be changed to make it the best weapon it can be. But the power difference between the Ancients and the Primal Ancients is now basically going to be smaller. So if you have a very good Ancient, that's still going to be a very good weapon, particularly with how rare they are making these Primal Ancients. And I'm really not impressed with the rarity change. To me, it's just more RNG. As you can see, I've just upgraded 350 rares to legendaries, and I have not got a Primal Ancient. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is actually 0.1% chance, which is about 1 in 1,000, because I mean I haven't got 1 in 350 rolls. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's, you know, a lot higher than that, but I'd say it's certainly not higher than about 0.5%. I'm hoping it's not as low as 1%, and I really hope that if it is currently around that 1% mark, that Blizzard consider reassessing, because it just makes it very difficult for the legitimate players to compete. And we do have leaderboards, and both non-season and non-season, and that puts competitiveness in there. Some people go, oh well, it's not uh,
I got
a
some new
competitive
things.
game, but
You
the
should check them
leaderboards,
out.
in my opinion, make it competitive. So I would like to be able to complete. I'd like to be able to feel that I have good gear. So I really hope, if it is as small as that, 0.1%, that Blizzard consider maybe upping that slightly, because, say, 350 rolls, no Primal Ancient, it could be very discouraging if people farm a bunch of mats. Even at 1%, you would have needed about 500 bounty mats on average. Like, people aren't, legitimate people find that very difficult to farm, and to be honest, with bounty mats, very boring to farm. But overall here, I've done 350 rolls. I have 30 something ancients found, and no primal ancients. And the other thing I'm hoping Blizzard will consider changing is dropping that gating requirement, which is currently set at a greater of 70. So tonight I just ran before I started, just so you can see I have done my greater of 70 on the PTR, so that these were available to me. It's not just that I didn't meet the requirements. I came on, first thing I did was run my greater of 70. So these things were available to me, but I did not get a Primal Ancient in 350 rolls. I'm just hoping for a little bit of change still, Blizzard, but good work on the making them perfect ancients rather than the 30% higher stats. I think that's a great change. Thanks anyone for watching. If you've made it this far, have a good night. Bye.